can we? Do I need a microphone? So just a quick bit of... Sorry? Quick news item. Unfortunately, Hugo has pulled out. He won't be running anymore, so we're down to 5 candidates. We don't know where Tom is. We hope he will arrive soon. We were expecting Tom. Kevin, who's a post-grad student, Kevin McNamara, can't be here today. He's coming towards the end of a temporary full-time contract, so he's actually at work, but he will be, available fully for the union. And he sent in a speech, which I'll read on his behalf. So, a couple of things. Candidates get up to 2.5 minutes to go and use the lovely podium and tell you why you should vote for them. Then there's also an opportunity to ask questions. Voting opens on Monday at 5 o'clock. It then closes next Sunday at 11 p.m. and results are announced at 1:30. A couple of reminders, all the positions on offer are for the volunteer exec officer roles. So these make up part of the executive committee, meet fortnightly to discuss union matters and volunteer a bit of their time in the office to work on things that benefit you guys. So I think without further ado, we will go to the first speech. So Natasha, you're on my right, so do you want to go in first? Yeah. What will happen is I will start a timer. When you have a minute left, if you are still up there, I will nod just to give you a signal that you have 1 minute left, and then when your time is up, I will interrupt you very rudely. And the time starts when you start talking.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Tash. I'm sure most of you know me, but for anyone who have changed that might not. You might not have seen me around a lot last year because I was doing my year abroad in Belgium. It was very rainy. I'd recommend going abroad though, it's lots of fun. I'm really glad to be back there and I'm really excited to get more involved. I made a promise to Matt at the summer ball that I'd definitely be part of the HSU and do what I could. So over summer we've been involved in lots of things. Hayfest was one of them. I hope you came to some of the events, they were a lot of fun. Went to Brighton. I also helped pick music for annual events like barbecue. Skewered lots of vegetables. It was a really good turnout, I really enjoyed it. I also got involved in other things outside of the HSU. I'm doing French class, I'm doing yoga classes, doing baking society, you should definitely join. And I really just want to get stuck in. I'm enthusiastic, but quite positive. And I hope that living in halls, people recognise me around, see me around, and say hello. I hope to be able to be a good ombuds person between the other people at the top and the students. I've also been working in halls and imperial halls, trying to get kind of good community vibe going. And there's a bit of tension because they're imperials and they're taking over our land. But we've had some good nights so far. The quiz was a lot of fun. The American night was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed Fordham coming out. Yeah, and I hope that you all think that I'll be a supportive and constructive member of the HSU if you vote for me. Thank you very much.
So just questions will be at the end after everyone has done their speech. So I'm going to now go to Ben. You have up to 2.5 minutes. The same things apply. I will knock when you have a minute left and interrupt you. Whenever you're ready.
My name's Ben Woolf. Some of you may know me. I've been around for a bit. So I just thought I wasn't that involved in the first 2 years because I was like, I don't really know what to do. I've never really done something like this before. But then in the second year I sort of started to feel a bit detached from the university, nothing's really going on, don't really know what's happening. I just felt pretty isolated. So I feel like a lot of other people might have felt like that as well, just from people that I talked to. So I just thought, in this third year, it's kind of like the last year for most people, we might as well just make it sick. I just thought I'd just run, because why not? So I do have experience in stuff like this, I've done managing before, I've played in a couple of bands and we've booked tours and booked events and gigs and stuff like that. So I'm not new to this kind of thing. I've done sort of a lot of event managing before and stuff like this, so I feel like I'm pretty confident in this kind of role. I've tried to talk to a lot of people this year I haven't seen before. I know a lot of people haven't seen me before, so it wasn't about that much. So hopefully just say hello to everyone. And that's my speech.
So the last of the present candidates will, if you would like to take the podium.
so much about who I am or what I have done, because everyone here knows me. And, well, maybe you as well. So I want to talk more about what I want to do with the union, and a little bit of what I'm starting to do, I guess. A huge thing, I think, for a lot of students, as well, a lot of you in Halls, is the way the canteen's been going on. We've got a change of management now. It's looking promising. But if they put, and we kept being told that everything that was possible had been done last year. But, I mean, remember our first year, when the student union picketed the governor's meeting? Why did nothing like that happen to the canteen? We definitely should do something like that. They've been mistreating us on legal matters. And things like plastic and metal found in our food. Come on, this is important, it needs to be treated as such, and we can't just be blocked by a manager not turning up to a meeting. And that leads me rather nicely onto the thing that I've sort of started doing with the union, trying to get some campaigns running again with the union. We didn't have a campaigns officer last year, and I think we sorely lacked it, because we saw a definite disengagement with the world and even with ourselves from us last year. And I think we need to do something about that. So I want to get us involved with some national campaigns, and I think we can make a pretty big difference. We've been contacted by a former student who wants us to help with his project, getting better equipment for a school in Africa. This person thinks we are the people to ask him to ask for help. We can do this, and I think I'll call that a day.
I will finally take to the podium to read out on behalf of Kevin.
Here's a postgraduate student.
So,
If he is timing your little.
I'm timing myself. And I'll interrupt myself.
Multitasking.
Multitasking.
Are you going to knock these up as well?
Yeah. This thing will be full up. Okay, let's go. Sorry if I don't look up too much, because I'm going to focus on the speech. Hi everyone, I'm very sorry I could not be here with you all this afternoon. It might sound rather odd in the third person, but thanks to Matt, for reading this out for me, and thanks to all of you for being here. I am running in this election because I've seen firsthand the importance of the work student unions do. Although it is widely derided by the press and the sceptics, I know it changes people's lives. I graduated 3 years ago and have done various things since, but the things that stay with me are what I did at university. When I was on Kent Union's LGBT+ campaigns committee, I know that, as part of our work, we made life on campus so much better for many trans students, successfully lobbying the university for its first gender-neutral toilets. It can never be said that the work we are capable of doing here is not important and that it is not worth doing. The same, too, applies for not only what students are able to do for Heathrop, or what Heathrop students are able to do for the world, serving society through philosophy and theology, as Heathrop's mission statement puts it. On this same committee, I was part of its first ever letter writing campaign over the same-sex marriage vote. We fundraised, signed, sealed and delivered hundreds of letters to the House of Lords in time for a marriage vote. I helped the Feminist Society organise the Postcards for Malala event, which helped raise funds for girls who were not able to access education and to send words of encouragement to Malala Yousafzai. Volunteering, giving back and working hard as part of what I am and what I do, I'll be privileged to serve the college as a member of the Student Union Executive Committee. Thank you.
We wanted to see you interrupt yourself, like, man, you should stop. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Be quick.
I just had an argument with myself. Tom doesn't appear to have joined us. So we'll quickly move on to questions. There are a couple of pre-arranged questions that the candidates have seen. I've set them as chair, but I will first see if they come up through the audience. They're quite obvious ones. and Kevin has sent in a couple of responses as well. But has anyone got a question for one candidate or all of the candidates, or a combination?
Was Kevin the amount kind of non-candidate who was in the office just now? Or was that?
No.
Which candidate are you asking?
I
suppose.
So then that game you knock down the people's faces, is that what you're having?
Yes,
But if anyone's got actual questions for the candidates, there must be something.
To all the candidates, why didn't you run last time? Why didn't you run last time?
Oh yeah, I wasn't really here that much. So, like, it was part of my house when I was in a deep depression.
I was in Belgium, didn't know about it. Mentioned that the video brought.
I thought that because I needed to knuckle down this year, running Donkey Club would be enough external responsibility to my degree. I have to say after the hectic format I had, I was right. But it's calmed down now, so I should just about be able to manage it.
And Kevin did answer this one. With a smiley face. I was not a student with a smiley face.
Should have put a bushy face.
There's another couple of obvious ones.
I'll go for the traditional, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Be a possum,
Why?
because it's like nocturnal. You're little and you can like run around and no one knows where you're there.
So you kind of need to run all the night events.
Yeah.
Like once they ship you and you can sort of.
I would be a fungus because I like to get involved in things, even though I probably shouldn't, and I'm a bit nosy and get in the way of things. But I'm good for the environment. And I want to make recycling.
Essential part of baking.
And I'm an essential part of baking, exactly.
And you're a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy, exactly.
Will?
Peacock.
Peacock.
Okay, I'm going to do one of the other questions. If you were to choose only one function or project to work whilst on the union, what would it be?
Events, probably. I enjoy doing it. It's fun. I like seeing everyone having a good time and getting photos from the night that we can look back on. Which would be nice to show at some wall, don't you think, if you went through photos and see it?
Kevin would like to do welfare. While Heathrow already boasts an inclusive and vibrant community, more can always be done to ensure that not only Heathrow acts in the interest of the most marginalised, but it does its utmost to do this with their consent, by reaching out, hearing from women, LGBT+, BME and disabled communities on campus, as well as from service users. So, maybe if we, Ben or Will, if you want to jump in.
Mine's quite similar. I'd like to do events, just purely because it's what I know. I've done it quite a lot in the past, I'm quite good at it. So, like, yeah, it's what I know. So,
My speech will give you 3 yeses. Nothing.
Anyone else? Go on, Steph.
Describe yourself in one word.
Just talk about it this way.
Go on.
Panicked.
Ben?
I'm thinking.
Sorry.
Thinking.
Thinker.
Confused. Laugh at me, man.
Extravagant.
What can you bring to the HSU exec team that it currently might lack? Such things to the union is perfect. But
I mean, two of the candidates are on the union,
they're not currently on the union bed.
but they're getting through.
For now.
So, Tash, we'll come back to you.
Like I say, I've not been here, so I don't know what worked well last year and what didn't work well. So if anything, it's like a fresh pair of eyes coming in.
getting more people involved. Like, 'cause I feel like sometimes there's a bit disconnect. You know what I mean? Like, I felt quite disconnected in the first 2 years. I feel like just being there and being a friend, like face that you can see and be like, oh yeah, they're very like, we're gonna say hi to them and stuff. That's like a good thing.
I can bring the only mind in college that knows where everything is in this wall's cupboard.
It's funny because he's
So this was the final prearranged question. So Kevin says, as well as previous student union experience, 3 years of experience in the private sector, most notably worked as a campaign manager and key volunteer over the past 3 years. In this time I've been part of many successful campaigns from local government up to European Parliament and can bring this experience to bear on the work I do for the HSU as it is required. Have we got any more questions? Oh.
Can I ask a question?
Well,
Yeah, you can.
go on.
Yeah. Me?
Yeah, go on.
So how are you going to get more people involved? Because obviously this year we've got 6 schools of Imperial. How are you going to try and get more people involved? And obviously you also do campaigns and events as well.
Face to face.
Face to face.
Yeah, so you've got to people. So you can't.
Yeah.
You're laughing now.
Yeah, go on, Natasha.
I think student union does a lot already. I think it's definitely a case of people see the emails, they see the posters, they hear about it, and they're like, yeah, well, I'd rather not pull my way out to do that. With saying that, there probably could be some more posters around visual things to help you see. And like I say, now there's more on the HSU, you see more around, like Ben said, you'll see us and you're like, oh, you know, we'll say, oh, don't forget, chocolate bears are at Olympia this weekend that you can buy tickets for from Business Society. And you're like, yeah, that's great.
Nice plug.
I'm not really convinced by either of those answers, and I'm not convinced that we have an answer, because it's a persistent problem that we have, that the same hardcore people are the only people who turn up to pretty much anything. And I think if we had an answer to that, then why would we need to run? We would have been grabbed by the union already.
I was proud.
So there's 2 other hands. Louise hasn't asked a question yet, but Louise in this hand.
So following on from the animal question, what animal eats
A coral reef. It's a living organism, so it does count as an animal, and it's thought about this on detail. And it's like got lots of different unique parts of it, and it's very pretty to look at, but unfortunately it's dying. We're not knowing much about it. We can appreciate it when it's there.
Can I have a follow-up to Tasha?
Go on.
Not all living creatures are animals.
She did say that.
Trees, for instance, are
Wait,
not
She
animals.
did say that.
Scientifically, it's a biological. So under the biological.
But I'm just questioning your
It's fine,
definition.
we're a philosophy college, not a science college anyway, it doesn't matter.
Targeting the imperials.
Ah. Triggered.
What animal would eat chocolate?
Because it's really interesting and so unique, but a little bit useless and really weird.
Be a field mouse. Because they run around and they're small. That's a fact. Yeah, that's my answer.
It's actually
What do you want the future of Heathrow College to be?
In ideal, can I go first?
yes.
In an ideal world, I'd like it to stay here because I think I love the fact that it's like a little oasis in the middle of London and it's so small and unique and old and higgledy-piggledy. But I know that's not feasible. So I'd like it to continue as Heathrow as a specialist college. I'd like it to still hire, employ, what's the word? Take in all the students that apply that are interested, because I know there are certain people here that might didn't do well in their exams to get in, but from what I understand, Heathrow didn't exactly reject anyone, which I quite like, because it's a great bunch. I think it's wonderful. So I'd like them to keep that specific part of Heathrow in the future, if it carries on.
Carry on, but keep out into allegiance. Yeah, carry on.
I need to answer 2 questions with doom and gloom, but I think I'll just be satisfied with a at this point.
Any more questions?
This is
So this
Will,
is
do you intend on being this depressing all the time?
Have I been this depressing so far?
Yes.
No, that's a lie.
Stefan likes them because they make puns take up a lot of root space.
Exactly, and puns are happy.
This is now turning into an internal chat.
This is to accurate, since this was your idea. What do you make of the attendance for Brighton?
My friends came, so I was pretty pleased.
You're sick.
It was definitely, there was, I think, a majority of the HSU, which is a shame. I think it's a great idea. It's such an idea. I'm really surprised it didn't work as well as something like the Freshers Board worked. I just can't think of why. I think people had other things planned that weekend. If we were going to do an event like that again, we'd plug it more, about how exciting it's going to be. I thought it was a really good weekend.
Make sure everyone loses their passports.
Yeah, don't be
Is it a serious question? Sam?
It is relatively serious.
Relatively. Okay.
No, it's just particularly Will and Natasha, because you've been more involved until now. But what event have you enjoyed the most organising and attending?
Marion Rowan barbecue. Tried to kind of put a bit of a spin in it, do a carnival themed barbecue. Didn't quite follow through, but we had the idea of the bungee run. And it was good fun, it was good fun. And I also found the musicians as well, that was nice, had some live music at the time.
Oh yeah, that's really good. You, the chaplain, Paul Fletcher, who's deaf, commented on how good the band was.
So miracle work. So if we go to Will, in the meantime, perhaps to be fair to Ben, do you want to think about an event that you want to bring in that you haven't done yet? Yeah. So Will, what have you been involved with so far that you are pleased with?
I mean, really the only event we've had so far that I've been involved with, apart from in attending, would be the barbecue again. And I was glad to see how well that went. Again, I think most of the credit goes to Natasha for the band because they did a fantastic addition. But I think probably what I enjoyed attending most was probably doubts I had of the art group. I think there's the only time that I'm really convinced that we saw more students we were hoping to grab actually come. We had, I lost track of the number of extra non-ESOL students we had at that event, and that was just great to see.
Ben, have you got an idea of something you'd like to do?
I've actually thought about this since I started coming here, but just obviously think about it, never like, it's done. But I was thinking about putting on gigs, like some way. I don't know how I would do it, if it would be in here or in an external venue, but I would work and then get people to just come to it. I think that'd be really cool because it's like, I feel like everyone enjoys live music to a certain extent, and even if you don't enjoy it, you can come and you can socialise with people or whatever, get people talking, meeting each other.
Would you keep the Christmas ball on a boat?
Don't need to suggest it.
I would say no, I don't remember. The thing is, on a boat, you end up drinking a lot and you get too cold to go outside, and then you don't end up remembering a lot. I don't remember seeing Shard, I don't remember seeing things like that. And I think actually it's fun, but as a Christmas formal, I prefer something more formal, as in...
Sorry, did you say Christmas ball or Christmas formal? Christmas ball. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
in that case, I would still prefer something in a fancy big room somewhere, even a sit-down meal. I think most of it. Yeah.
I really like the boat party. It's drastically different, and it's at worst you've got a lovely supply of sea air.
Yes. Yeah.
Technically illegally hired.
For the ducks into
It's classy. It's classy.
So you like the boat?
No, I didn't go.
I
I
think
don't drink, so I don't know what that's like.
But you know, whatever floats your boat.
Right, we'll take. Is there anyone else with a burning question? Because we'll finish on these two. So Sachi first.
What's your opinion on integration for the future events, particularly the big ones like Winter and Summer Ball? Should they be Heathrow only, or should we beef up the numbers with external students?
Keep them out. Yeah, no, keep it integrated. That's good. Good gene. Don't laugh at me, man.
I think looking at last year, we did manage to beat, well, not we. The attendance for the Christmas and Summer Ball was still really good. I mean, the number of extra tickets we had to get for the Summer Ball last year, actually we did get. Yeah, that was intercollegiate only on a guest basis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that worked, and it's the Summer Ball particularly an event that the postgraduates do seem to be more interested in. And so I think that because even though we've lost a lot of our undergraduate numbers, I think that the postgraduate larger number will be able to boost the Summer Ball up. The Christmas Ball, I think we can. I think it might have to be smaller, but I think we can still get pretty much all of our students going to it. I think that will be enough. Because how often do we actually see all of our students come out somewhere? I reckon those are maybe 2 times.
Yeah, I fully agree with what Will said. Snowball, I think this year will be different. It's a bit like a bow out event. So I imagine we'll have a lot of postgraduates, most people from third year, and anyone else interested. I think that's a nice idea. I like the idea of a guest base as well, because any Imperials or intercollegiates who do want to come, probably want to come because they know someone else here, like Josh. You know as well enough to want to come along, so we'd invite you along as guests. I think that's fair. There's certain intercollegiate members who really make an effort in these events. I think that's great. Christmas Ball is less of a bow out, it's just a big party. I think it's fine to have intercollegiates there. More the merrier.
What about Imperial students who are living on site, since they aren't intercollegiate, but they are still, in a way, part of the Halls community at any rate, even if not part of the Heathrow community? And as an addendum, they also use this room quite a lot, even though it is the common room of the HSU. And where do you fall on that, incidentally?
Intercollegiates and halls, I think, have a bit of a halfway status, because we do want to invite them to our events. They are living on our site, and I think it creates a really good community. But you're right, they're not.
They aren't intercollegiates, though.
No, they're Imperial as well.
Yeah, they aren't Uni of London students.
Okay. I think still the same point applies, whether they're not intercollegiates or Imperials, or any university students that live in our halls.
But they also have a tendency to not allow Heathroppers at their events.
I think that's something we're going to work on. I'm trying to be a kind of liaison between the student union and the Alton Hall sub-wardens that got representing Imperial. I'm hoping to sit in on their meetings and kind of just create some sort of relationship where they're going to be invited to our events, we're going to invite their events, make sure it's equal. But they do have more numbers and they do have more finances. Perhaps I'm not quite sure on that. So they will be able to put on more events. So hopefully we'll be invited to more of their events.
There are some events in which Heathrow students have been invited to Imperial things. So there will be some events, Heathrow events, where Imperial students have been invited to that. But it depends on how the event is run. For things like the formal, it's done as Heathrow only. That's where you have a direct cost per person, where you are directly subsidising from Heathrow Student Union money onto external students. Where you have a fixed cost, that's where we in the last year have been more open with intercollegiate. Imperial is quite new, and that's something which is probably a better conversation to have at the next general meeting with how things are going. But intercollegiate, we've had some experience with that over a year. Imperial is a new system where they do have a structure in place. So that's probably the key difference between intercollegiate from last year to Imperial from this year. Imperial have their own sub-wardens, they have their own budget, which is part of the Imperial Students' Union, and they set up a halls committee which plan events for Imperial students. So there is a difference in organisation there. But just to kind of give you a bit of information on what we've been doing and how we look at it budget-wise, is there are, so we never give them a direct subsidised per head ticket unless it is an hour before the event and we're about to lose some money anyway.
This one was to Ben. Would you say you have the contact with students who don't necessarily engage, too much in Heathrow events, for example? They've never been in halls, for example, and they just don't come out. Would you say the context to re-engage them this year and get them to actually come down to things this year?
Yeah, that's a
This year.
that's a really good question. Thanks. But it's because, to be honest, that's the category I kind of fall under as well, because I've never lived here from the club that I live in. Like, it is difficult. I'm not going to deny it's difficult. I think the best way you've got to do it is kind of what I said before, to be honest. You've just got to be approachable. You've just got to make people feel like when they're in lectures and when they do see that they know things are going on, obviously putting posters up and just rinsing all the PR you can to just get people to come. That's probably the best thing you can do. But it is really hard to actually get in touch with people who aren't actually living here. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap in the market.
But that's something you feel that you can do?
Yeah, I feel like I can do that, yeah. I talk to people.
So that was the last question. But thank you everyone for coming. That is possibly one of the last ever, if not the last ever, kind of elections of the HSU. So, get voting for one final time. And remember, who is always on the ballot? Ron is always on the ballot. So if you're unhappy, you can vote reopen nominations. Whether we actually do another elections, I can't promise. You can at least vote for that. So Ron is reopen nominations. So on the voting slip, you have Natasha versus Ron. So essentially, Ron is no, I don't want this person.
Yeah,
so you are
yes or no.
fighting against Ron. Voting, as I said, that's done in your student email accounts. You get a personalised ballot paper. Hopefully, most of you have done it before. Comes through a kind of Survey Monkey link. You click through, you vote once, and it's done. So voting opens Monday, 5 PM, closes next Sunday, 11 PM. Results will be announced 1:30 PM here in the common room to the masses that will be in attendance. Please do vote.